Well, do we think Bitcoin and ETH has topped here? The pullback is deepening. Do we think the bear market has started, right? And who could have told you about all this? Look at this. Bitcoin, I've always been saying, right, would flush, right, below this trend here, but try to get back up here, right? So far, the bull flag is still holding. But I've always said, look, watch out for this area here. This is 110.5K area. This. Why 110.5? Because it connects all of these three tops. 110.5, right, would connect this top, and even this top, and be just below this one. So there will be a lot of buying support here, So there, I've always said there's a chance we could go down and retest here. I don't want to see that retest, but there's always that chance we could see that here, right? We would mainly stay inside this bull flag with wicks down and then try to get back up. So here is a crucial date. Basically, we've had one close below and then a wick back above. So are we getting back into this bull flag? That would be very bullish, right? If we can keep on doing this. Or are we going to fake out here? This is Saturday evening US time and Sunday midday Asian time zone. So would we get some sort of close like here, right? And then close 3 or 4 days and retest these 110K or even 111K area, right? So this is going to be a crucial episode. I'm sure a lot of bears are panicking and saying this is the top. But if you look at my last two videos, if you look at my messages in Discord, I said at least for altcoins, this was the place to take some profits. I said I'm taking some profits here. Said that in Discord. Said that in one of my last videos from about a week ago. The reason why is this because of this fake out. This fake out here, right? If you are going to make a new high, then you just keep going. You don't do this, right? On this day, on the 28th of July, I said, you don't pull back and do that. If you do that, that means we're going to screw around here, right? I just said, look, have a look at this. If you are going to make a new high, you just keep going. You don't pull back and screw around like this. Even, okay, you might say this is a pullback, but this is such a shallow pullback, right? It never got below like the top 20% of this green bar. It just kept on going, right? Whereas this pullback, we had a breakout, new highest close right here on the 27th of July, and then we closed halfway, more than halfway, back into this green bar. Show me one instance here where if it was going to keep going, where it closed, made that kind of negative close here, right? It doesn't. You might say, well, here it is, right? But this was not making a new high. This was inside the range. Yes, inside a long-established 3-week-old, 4-week-old range, you can chop up, chop down, chop up, chop down, chop up, chop down, right? You can do that. But once you break out and establish a new high close, once you break out of this range, like this day, then the pullback should be very minimal. In fact, it should be consolidating on the way up. That's what I mean by consolidating upwards. You don't consolidate downwards like what we're having right now, right? So once we had this bar here is comparable to this bar here because we just had a new high, and then this bar here is comparable to this bar here, except this bar, these three bars kept on consolidating upwards, whereas this bar gave back most of the gains. So that's why I said take some profits here, right? I can't be 100% sure. But I said it's safe to take some profits here, right? Keep some big bags, but we're going to get a pullback here. And at what level did I say ETH was going to pull back to? Because once we understand what ETH is doing, then we understand what all the rest of the altcoins are doing. So ETH, I said, support here around 3590s, the high 3500s. But it could wick down to low 3500s and then bounce back up, right? Like we did here. That'd be support number one. If we closed below, which we did on the Friday, then I said, then let's look for 3,300. And been saying 3,300 as a possibility for a long time. Why 3,300? And where is the overall crypto market going from here, right? What altcoins should we be buying? To answer all of those questions, We're going to do that next. Before that, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo He-Man use? Well, Pablo uses this exchange that's non-KYC. That means it's no IDs needed. That means the exchange can't even see who you are. That means the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, right? So just by depositing, get 20%. Deposit 100 US dollars, get 20 US dollars. Deposit 1,000 US dollars, get 20 US dollars bonus, right? Just by trading, win up to $18,000. So this limited offer, and it finishes on 12th of August. And if you're watching this on some other platform, on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. But if you're watching this on any other platform, that's okay. Just hit my profile page, and when you do, then basically click on that stand link or the link tree, and it should be the first deal that comes up, right? Bitunix. And let's get back to the markets. But keep in mind, folks, this is the only on Pablo's link, only on the Pablo link. Okay, here we go. Let's get back to the markets. All of this pullback essentially started, as I had warned in my last video, is because US has adjusted, right, its jobs data down badly. Like it used to say, well, we gained 145,000 jobs and 147,000 jobs, and then they gave back 90% of those jobs. 90%, saying it was just an error. Trump couldn't take it anymore. Trump even fired the head of BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics in the US, right? Okay, so basically, this is an old chart, ignore that. And so basically, I said this is bullish for Bitcoin and crypto in the longer term. In the longer term, as that means the Fed will cut rates in the coming weeks, right? Rather than holding out. But in the shorter term, I said the market is going to price in what? A recession. The market is going to price in a recession, and that means stocks will go down. That means crypto will go down. So that's why I said look out for 3,300, right? And Bitcoin, look out for a dip below 113K, 110, 111. That's where I expect the support to be. So as we can see here, this is how Friday closed, right? Wall Street, SP 500 down 1.6%. NASDAQ 100 down 2%. NASDAQ Composite down 2.2%. So market is in a bit of a panic. And it's a gap down and no attempt to do a V-shaped close here and just keep on gapping down. Now, one reason that makes me not too worried about this, right? The support levels I'm giving so far at 3,300 for Ethereum and also at 10 to 11K for Bitcoin is because this pullback, even though it was a shock news, even though if you look at the fundamentals, this was shockingly bad news because this is just really bad adjustments. But as I keep on saying, we should be expecting that because look at this. Since the start of this year, January, February, March, April, every month has been negative adjustment. It just adjusts down, right? Except this was a really bad one. Usually we adjust down by like 20K, 25, 30K. This was a bad one, like 100K, whatever. But that was a big month. So basically it's adjusted half of the gains. So basically Wall Street is going to be in recession fear mode. Without rate cuts and with US jobs looking weak, even the July numbers were weak. We were expecting 110K, 73K jobs were added. And if you're going to adjust it down by that much every month, then you might as well say, well, it was practically 0 jobs added for the month of July, June, and May. So 3 months of roughly 0 jobs or almost 0 jobs added in an economy that has 200 million workers like the United States. If that's the case, then, well, we might as well call ourselves be on recession watch or be on the verge of recession. So that's the fundamental reason why I said stocks are correct to pull back, to do this sort of move, right? To do this sort of move, which is a pullback, and there will be recession fear until Fed steps in to say, we will cut rates, we will cut rates. I promise you, we will cut rates for, out of the 12 voting members, for something like 7 or 8 of them to promise to cut rates, to say they lean towards rate cut, and then for the market to turn back up again. Dip, and then up we go. How much do we dip? Depends on how quickly the Fed comes out to say they're going to cut rates. That's exactly what I said in my video from 2 days ago. Now, have a look at this. Have a look at this. On the weekly, but however, I'm saying from the chart perspective, from the charting perspective, right, this is not as big of a deal to worry about because the market, the chart already told us this was going to be a massive pullback. Look at this. This is a rising wedge that formed as early as that carried the entire stock market move from March 2020, which was the COVID crash. We had the COVID crash, bounce up, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, short drop, wave 4 due to Trump tariffs, and now we're up in wave 5. And for folks who are in my Discord or folks who have been watching my videos, I've marked out wave 5 ends around here. Blow off top. This would be around October or even as early as September, that time, and somewhere in the mid to high 600s for SP 500, right? So once we got to this level, it is only natural for us to hit this level and pull back. We don't need a fundamental reason. Like, I mean, just look how well this thing worked. Like, this was the top of 2021, right? When Bitcoin topped at 69K, boom, and this thing bottomed, right? Before Bitcoin did, same time as Bitcoin at 15K, and boom, up we go. And then this was the top when election came into, when Trump got elected and then came into office, and then boom, this was the tariffs, the tariff war on everybody, April 7th, bottom, and then boom, bounce up we go again, and this was the you can adjust, afterwards. You can justify for it, give justifications afterwards, and say, oh, this was because of the really bad job numbers came out. Or you could just say, well, to a chartist, he could say, I don't look at the news. I just know that when we hit these levels, somehow we need to take profits, and it goes down. So this one, how low would the SPY go, SP 500 go? Basically, I'm looking at this level. So first of all, it's a pretty bad pullback this week. Why? Because you're having a bearish engulfing candle. This is one candle that basically engulfed this week and this week, right? These 2 weeks. So that's pretty bad when you take out 2 weeks of greens with 1 week of reds. So first layer of support is around here. This 6010 area. Let's call it 6010, 609 area, because you've had so many weekly tops here. I would think a lot of retail, maybe not institutional, but retail, not a good sign, right? Are going to buy around here, but it'll make stocks bounce up at least, right? Technical bounce at least around 610. And then we can probably look for second support around this area, around here, 591, if it does get that far, because one bottom, two bottoms here. Yeah, and then possibly around 584, right? So first, let's see, I'll give more updates if we break 610 first. And then basically support around 591 and then 584. So if the Fed presidents next week start speaking and start coming out in interviews hinting strongly they're going to cut rates, then we may not get past 510. I do expect a technical bounce around 610, because a lot of retail, not institutional, but a lot of retails are going to buy the dip here. They keep on believing the U.S. stock market is invincible, and they're going to keep on buying the dip, right? Keep on buying the dip. Whilst we're here, I just want to, before we go on to Bitcoin and Ethereum, I just want to show everyone U.S. stock market is not invincible, and this buy the dip strategy probably ends in 2025. And if you did that, right, the last time we had this, again, rising wedge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last time, if you kept on buying the dip here, buying the dip, right, and then if you kept on trying buying the dip here, right, you would have performed really poorly for this 12-year period, 12 year, this entire decade, just U.S. stock market just went sideways, right? This is kind of where, by the way, going forward, I think U.S. is going to get into this sort of situation, right? In the 60s, you also had this as well. Well, we can't see it on this SP 500. chart. But have a look at the 60s, 70s. It's also this sort of similar situation, right? China's also stuck in this sort of situation right now. So I believe a rotation's about to happen. We're about to see the Chinese stocks are about here right now, right? Just coming off the bottom, right? Breaking into a new high. And then we're going to see this over the next 10, 15 years with the Chinese stocks, right? Because they've been doing this sideways, going nowhere for 10 years, for more than that, for like since 2008. So that's 17 years they've been going sideways. Now they've just bottomed, right? I got our Discord writing here, right? We didn't get the exact bottom, but we don't need to get the exact bottom, and up we go in the next decade, 10 years, 5 to 10, even 15 years. Whilst the US has been in a massive bull run like this, and even completed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once we break that fifth, right, we'll top somewhere around September, October this year, as I've been saying, latest November, and then down we go and break this wedge, and boom, large bear market that lasts at least 1.5 to 2.5 years, maybe 3 years if we're pushing it. Top, number 5, right? Top in September to October, maybe November. I always say September to November top, right? See the timeline down here? October to November. Then down we go, and break this somewhere in 2026, maybe first half of 2026, and then everyone believes, oh my God, bear market is here, but it'll be too late, right? Because you have this major trend line that is now broken. This major trend line here, see this here, is now broken. This major trend line. People don't believe you when you call for a top here because they still think we're gonna maybe bounce off to here, maybe pull back here and then keep going up, then maybe bounce off here, whatever. It's only until this trend line is broken by a weekly bar or by 2 weekly bars and then and a monthly close, then people are like, oh my God, okay, this is bad. This is pretty bad. So yeah, that's usually how markets work. So I think that's going to happen later. It's not happening now just yet for Bitcoin and ETH. Let's go back and have a reiterate. And by the way, guys, the reason why I talk about the U.S. stock market so much is because it is about 20x larger than everything else. So therefore, except the bond market. So therefore, it's so clear that Bitcoin basically follows the NASDAQ. I mean, you did it again on Friday. It literally, NASDAQ went down 2%, Bitcoin went down like 6%. It did it again, right? Just quickly, let's have a look at the monthly chart because we actually closed the monthly pretty strong. That's why I think we can have 1 or 2 more pumps up, right? September, October, November. Massive, right, bottoming tail, blow off top here, right? Maybe 1 month of correction pullback, maybe not even that. 2 weeks of correction, 1 week, and then up we go, break this line, and everyone thinks it's everyone thinks it's a new bull market, but as Pablo say, it's a blow off top. Bitcoin, right, still basically in bull flag mode in my view. If it comes down here and retests this 110, 111K area, I would like it for it to close inside the bull flag and then go up again. If it closes down here and it keeps on doing that on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, then this bull flag has been invalidated. Then I need to look at it differently again. So this is the monthly. We just had the monthly close on Thursday. This is the monthly close of Bitcoin. Not terrible. I mean, it's a long wick here, but it's not, by no means I would call that a topping tail, because I mean here this was a topping tail. This was a topping tail. This is it. It's not a solid green bar like here, closing near the top. Here, closing near the top. This was closing like just a bit over halfway. So meeting a lot of resistance here. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. So I'm not thinking this is the topping candle, monthly candle for Bitcoin. As I always say, September to November. So this is August. Maybe we get a pullback, maybe just 1 or 2 weeks. Then September, October, November. Somewhere peak around here. Hopefully we get to the top 200 sorry, somewhere mid 100s, like 140 to 100, 165K, somewhere around in that area. For ETH, here we go. It's monthly looks absolutely fine. Like monthly chart looks absolutely fine. This is I've got it on a log. Yeah, monthly looks absolutely fine. And the reason why this red trend line is so important is because that was the question I asked at the start. Is because this red trend line. Let me put it on weekly so we can see it better. Has basically supported ETH for this entire run up since June 2022. Bounce, 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 break down, and then we fake out and climb above. So it's crucial to hold this 3,300 level. Of course, the market will try to psych you by wicking down to 3,200. I think it gets stopped around this 3,200, 3,190, and wick back up, right? 3,300, close above 3,300 for a few days, for a couple of days. I think this is the place to enter. I'll do a video next on what altcoins and what whale signals I'm seeing on chain. Okay, thank you for following me, folks. I'll catch you next episode.